This is London with Bitcoin Spike, VIP Trader. Guys, how you doing? It's a little bit dark. We're pre-market, and we just wanted to stream a little bit. And I want to say good morning to all the VIP. And we'll be streaming a little bit more in terms of market opens, etc. Wanted to, guys, get live and talk about some of the patterns that we're seeing on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been doing extremely well. We'll go through the charts. We will measure up what I am looking at, what you guys are trading, some of the signals in the back. Number one trade group. You guys know that. London with Bitcoin Spike, former hedge fund owner, private, non-SEC, not financial advice. Now, in terms of the details, let me make sure that we are live. And guys, shout out in the chats if you can, would appreciate that. We'll go through, let's just say the details on Bitcoin. I know the VIP are trading. We'll talk about a few of the patterns that are in play right now, what we've been looking at, and some of the difficulties. I was hoping for a nice, you guys know, I was hoping for a nice open with equities. Unfortunately, they backed off. They were really hot. Futures were really hot. You guys know that over the weekend, futures were rocking and rolling. Looked like, and then it just backed off. So Bitcoin is in a pattern favorite for our VIP. You guys know that. And shout out to Venus. What's up, Venus? Nice to see you, Venus. Good morning. Part of the reason I decided to stream. Venus, good morning. What's going on? Nice to see you. Any technical glitches, you guys let me know in the comments. If it's unbearable, you let me know. We're doing kind of a practice run here. Want to get things up and going so that this becomes more of a mainstay for our group, trading the open, etc. So in terms of, and we appreciate YouTube not blasting this out to a bunch of people if there are technical glitches. That's fine. In terms of the, let's look in terms of the dynamics. And we have, just to remind you guys, for YouTube, etc., we've invested heavily in pro-level equipment. We dealt with the company that deals with the pros, bottom line. So we grabbed some equipment, 15 monitors wide. Very important to be able to assess all the time frames for the VIP. Extremely important to assess all the time frames for the VIP. I don't know how you trade without it, guys. Honestly, I don't know how you trade without it. I'm excited to be able to bring that to you. In terms of the markets, looks like we do have an open in New York, and we will see if we get any kind of volatility. We'll get up on the screen here and see what may be hot or not. Looking at some, just to kind of check out some highly volatile issues, such as we have to keep an eye on them. I mean, we have to keep an eye on equities because half the time we're correlated. The other half the time we're not correlated. Let's just take a look as we see that open, and I want to invite the VIP. Definitely, as we look at the ticker here on the right-hand side, first of all, this is best viewed on a big screen TV. I say that all the time. The top VIP know what I mean, and they have this on a big screen TV. They just do. I'll tell you, over the years, the VIP who have done the best do have a big screen TV. Bottom line, just so that you can make sure and see all the technicals, especially when I go to full screen, so that you see exactly what's being discussed. So as we look at Bitcoin in a correlation with, on the top here, you're seeing equities, okay? You're seeing equities on the top, and you're seeing essentially this round here on the watch list are my cryptos, okay? We got Bitcoin, Solana, ADA, Cardano, Dogecoin, Matic, Ethereum. Now, in terms of the correlations, Bitcoin has been stronger. You guys know the ETFs have been, essentially crypto ETFs have been stronger at the start of 2023 than any other sector. So we're excited to have focused on crypto. But what that means is that crypto has front run really equities, has outproduced equities. We deserved it. I'll tell you guys that we deserved it because Bitcoin had underproduced. You guys know at the end of 2022, seemed like the small just bear market runs that equities went on, Bitcoin kind of forewent that. Especially it felt as such when Ethereum was going on its, you guys know, was going on its tear due to its upgrade. Bitcoin was still kind of reserved in the back. So in terms of that, we're happy to see crypto and Bitcoin catch up with, I'd say catch up with that notion that it is the premier asset, right? Long term, we really believe that. And you can argue about a 20,000 versus 30,000 versus 50,000 versus 100,000 versus, you know, whatever valuation you want to put on it. But given its dynamics, we really believe it is a premier asset. And I'll say this to trade, without a doubt, a premier asset to trade. So we like to see the volatility. So we do note equities for the purposes of correlation, at least, and we'll dig into those in a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about what you guys see on your screen right now. This pattern specifically, and when I go green in the back, you understand, when I go green in the back and we're dealing with this specific pattern that you see is let me see if I can reframe this just a bit. Let me drag this down here. Pardon for that. But this is the number one producing pattern in the market. All right. Now, how is that measured? By the Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns. What is that? You may say, what is that? That is the most, I'd say, prolific, or the most advanced and comprehensive. Receive this, guys. It's the most advanced and comprehensive, okay, data analytic that has been done on pattern dynamics in the markets, period. Okay, that's available. That's the fact. So when we're looking at probabilities, when we are digging into let's say the approach to trading, let's say at a breach of support, a strategy on the patterns as opposed to just the straight probabilities, when we are dealing with those issues, we look to, you guys know this, but Bulkowski is the foremost authority. It's the most comprehensive work that has been done, encompassing 40 plus years of market structuring, not the past few weeks, past few months, even the past year, 40 plus years of market data. Very important to realize that. So when I go condition green, I will tell you I don't want to say the devil's in the details, but there is a degree, and this is one of the most difficult discussions to understand. You guys know this, to understand when we would look at the dynamics between Elliott Wave International. Okay, Elliott Wave International is going to give you this pattern and going to show it busting to the downside every time. VIP in the back, you know this. Now, what do they say about that? They say that, well, this wasn't really an Elliott Wave pattern to start with. You guys read that. So as we trade the pattern, which Bulkowski, Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, as we trade the specific pattern that he has identified through all of his research, you guys, this is prized information. You guys understand, this is important information. You know this, right? In terms of what's the number one producing pattern in the market, bam, guys, lock it in the pocket. Yes, sir, you understand that. So when we look at this and we're analyzing this, if we're going a bit further and deep diving between the authorities and talking about the difference between how Elliott Wave International will discuss this type of a pattern formation, the best, I'm going to tell you, if you can master these patterns, guys, if and when you master these patterns, let's not make it a conditional if you can, but if and when you master these patterns, and I'll just tell you guys, your trade game is going to reflect it in terms of I just strongly believe it's going to be very difficult for you not to make money, continually make money if you're trading these patterns well. Now, we don't forget bull flags. We just don't. Is there a bull flag included here? Potentially. Let's take a look at this. Is there a bull flag included? Nearly. It's not exactly fashioned the way we would want to see it. But I'll tell you this. I would prefer 8 days a week to trade an expansion over a bull flag. I just would. The probabilities to the upside are greater. They just are. The probabilities are greater to the upside. We don't forego the other pattern formations. What I want to talk about today is this bust syndrome that you continually see. If you'll allow me to have a sip of coffee. So, as we would talk about level of resistance across the top, a lot of you have heard me say, do not trade. And I'll just tell you guys, this is very interesting. Let's put this into context for VIP. Hope you guys are having a great morning. This is a great discussion. It just turned into a great discussion. Venus, shout out. You'll appreciate this quite a bit. Looking at one of the distinctions here, this is focal, please pay attention, VIP, critical aspect that we're looking at right now on Bitcoin as you assess the pattern dynamics. Now, we just said we potentially have a bull flag, right? And we have what we call a bell structure because it's structured like a bell. We like to rock them, bam, to the upside. You know that. Now, in terms of the details, What does it mean that Elliott Wave International says that this pattern, and pay attention guys, this is a big deal. Glad you guys are here this morning. Glad we get to talk about this. What does it mean that Elliott Wave says that this pattern is going to fail to the downside? It's going to bust, a busted pattern, a failed pattern. What does that mean? All right. It means that you need to be cautious, but pay attention to this. Listen to the second point. First of all, that you need to be cautious. Don't pull the trigger on breakouts on these, if you want to be highly consistent based upon the preceding data framework that were provided by the last several decades of data by the markets. The number of patterns by the market. Don't be real. Don't put the trigger finger on breakout trading on these. So Elliott Wave says they're going to go to the downside. Now, Elliott Wave International. Remember, this wasn't an original pattern that was founded and established by Elliott. Okay, so, but they've added it in after what they call, and it's registered with the Library of Congress, etc. So after what they said was it a sufficient amount of research, they could make the conclusion that. But pay attention. So the first thing that means, aside from what Bulkowski and the Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, aside from what that tells us, is first of all, don't have an itchy trigger finger, bam, up and over this level of resistance, this breakout. That's number one. We want to be involved lower in price. You understand that? Let me see if I can change the colors up. I started to work with a new color scheme dynamic because I want you all to start looking at when I go condition green in the back, and it's not me. I'm going condition green, but what is that? That is the market. That is the pattern. That is a 72% chance of breaking out to the upside. That's it. Now, as you prepare for that and allocate funds appropriately along the level of resistance, and you're allocating funds appropriately to capture the likelihood of a breakout along the level of resistance here, that's the 72%. The breakout over resistance. And as you get further into the micro, you're going to say, well, it could break out here, and every trader goes through this. Well, it could break out here. Every trader goes through this. Well, it could break out here. Right. So as you work the procedures, and I say of incorporating your internal pattern frameworks that exist within this is the number one pattern, guys. It just is, okay? As you work your pattern dynamics, which we do frequently, let's say a descending triangle, we see a pull back to the descending triangulation, this internal componentry for kind of a blackjack move. We'll discuss that, but you guys understand that in VIP. The first part of what is being discussed right now, don't have an itchy trigger finger on the breakout moves. Don't. They like to bust per Elliott Wave International. You know that. Now, in terms of if you're just tuning in, congratulations, guys. It was a good trade weekend. This was a great trade weekend, without a doubt. We had some good patterns in play. Hope you guys are all doing well. Appreciate you guys being VIP in 2023. A lot is incoming. We have a lot incoming, guys, and just wanted to kind of get up at daybreak and just be here for the open in terms of the market. We'll be incorporating in some other equities and the overall indexes for purposes of correlation, etc., and trading. What I'll say is I want to go through a two-part, let's say, just analysis or analytic and strategy, okay? Be careful on the breakout. They like to bust per Elliott Wave. The second part of this is what? The second part of this is if this is a shared pattern framework. If this is a shared pattern framework, meaning this expansion, which what is it that we like about this? Increasing volatility. We want increasing volatility where it is clear that the buyers are picking up. We like a defined level of support, a defined zone of support where there's an expectation and a trend line has been set that buyers are picking up further along support and there's increasing volatility. Heck yeah, guys, that's an equation for profit. That's nice, right? So, but the dynamic that I want to discuss right now is, yes, the potential for the busted pattern. Be careful up in this zone. And Venus, we talked about this on NASDAQ on a beautiful, beautiful issue on NASDAQ earlier, right? Earlier in 2022. But the other dynamic, to the extent that you have a bull flag included, and pay attention to this, to the extent that you have a bull flag included here, you're going to want to be careful on your time frames, okay? And your time frames are going to show it because this is washout city. Look at this. This would be washout city in terms of a trader. Just imagine you woke up, you're not VIP. Imagine you wake up, you're not VIP. All right? Okay? Hard to imagine. I can't imagine it, right? You guys are awesome. But as we would look at this, pay attention. As we would look at this, imagine trading this and it's a bull flag and you're a common retail investor. You're an average retail investor with no insight into the market whatsoever. Okay? Now, instead, you're VIP. You know we have this pattern in play right now, and you know that literally, guys, you know this, you know, and you know where I'm going with this second point, very important. You know that this bell pattern formation per Elliott Wave International, well, it's supposed to bust at the top. It's supposed to break. Now, without consideration of this bell type formation, without that consideration, what happens, guys? Well, we're just looking at a bull flag like the residual of the market. Now, to the extent that there's an override function, we're happy to see the override function all the time, guys. We're happy to see the override function, and well, Elliott Wave International is wrong. How many times has that happened? Enough, right? It's happened enough. But we have to consider what they are saying and incorporate into, even if it's a 50-50 split on them being correct on this issue. And I would say yes, a 50-50, as we would look at the data, a 50-50 split on Elliott Wave International being correct, right? And as we're going to dig into this, what is the overall feature here? When you would be considering the bull flag, this is a very uncomfortable place to involve yourself on the breakout of the bull flag, as opposed to an underlying, and this was a great feature here below. This was an exact measurement to the downside at a 100% amplitude completion. Boom. I tell VIP all the time, and this is highly relevant. I tell you all the time on a descending triangulation, yes, that. On the descending triangulation, that buyers become very interested underneath descending triangles. So this is the optimal entry here, without a doubt. But this here, you're literally at a split of the authorities as to whether or not we should head to the downside. So this you have this expansion here, right? You have that expanding pattern, and that expanding pattern per Elliott Wave International is going to include a bust. Okay, it's just going to include a bust. You guys know that in Prector, okay? So as I look at giving them their due credit in, let's say, a 50-50 shot, what does that mean for us as traders? It means that you are going to gain an advantage. You guys got it right. You're going to have an advantage if you at least understand that there's a split in authority and that it's not simply a bull flag that you're looking at, while the rest of retail literally just jumped in at the bull flag opportunity and probably just got washed out on the breakout trade. Hey, you guys see this? While the rest of retail just got involved in this, you at least understand the pressure to the downside 100% if you didn't short it. If you didn't short it, even as an insurance trade after your pickup at the descending triangulation. If you did enter here, I know J-Mac did, congratulations. As you would look at it, let's see what we got in the chats. What's up, what's up? Hey, what's up? There we go. What's going on? Scotland in the house. Scotland, what's up, my man? We're doing just kind of a Scotland. Boom. Nice to see you, Scotland. What's up, Leon? My man. What's up, what's up, what's up? Boom. Bam. So what's being discussed, we could turn it into, if we wanted to set common ground here and just kind of, release, let's say, the tension between Elliott Wave and Bulkowski. I don't want to have an academic discussion. That's not my goal. Let's wake up in the morning and trade and have an academic discussion. That's not the goal. The goal is to understand what's going to happen in the market, right? Without a doubt, to position ourselves better than the rest of the market. And I tell you, we could solidify it as this, without a doubt. If we're to, let's say, you may say, fine, okay, London, we understand what's going on. We understand we get it. We get it enough. What would be the fix to this? What would be the conclusion as we would look at this dichotomy between, let's say, fine, okay, Bulkowski says this goes up 72% of the time because of this formation here, right? Bulkowski says it's going to go to the upside. Great, we get it. Okay, fine. Versus Elliott Wave International says it's going to go down. Both highly, highly reputable guys. They're authorities. They're authorities. They've done more work in terms of of technicals than anybody else, guys. They've done a lot. Elliott Wave International, I put them in the same category. They've got a lot. They've got a lot of power, guys. A lot of esteem in the field of technical analysis. So the bottom line is what? We want to pre-position for a breakout. Everyone agrees, right? We want to pre-position for a breakout. Bottom line, any breakout. As you look at and especially if there's a split, if we get into a 50-50 zone, the last thing that I want you to do as VIP, as you're working on your consistency and you're working on your, guys, as you're working on your 100 rounds and building up into higher levels of trade amounts, the last thing that we want to see is you get into a 50-50 shot. Now, the breakout here, I just tell you, what was the breakout? If you traded the breakout on the bull flag, take a look at this. You went down a percentage point. You had a percent of flex on that move. Pardon for the coffee. Very important, guys. Thank you. Very important. A 1% drop from the breakout on a bull flag? Give me a break. Everybody, yes. Now, that's a big break, right? Big break. Pre-positioning is a solution when you're getting into a circumstance where, yes, we have the bull flag, but if we were just to look at the specific pattern that we've been in, guys, in focus all weekend long on, it would be the expansion here, right? In tandem with that bull flag. But we have the expectation of a possible break to the downside from Elliott Wave International, which requires us to do what? First of all, you could make the argument it requires us to short. You could, okay? Many people do. If you trade these enough, and I always recommend that traders trade 100 of these, trade 200 of these, right? Hey, yeah, what's up, Scotland, my man? I want you guys to make money. Mentorship is good. I want you guys to make money. I want you making money, Scotland. That's the bottom line. And I know you can. Scotland, I appreciate the comment there. I just want you guys to make money. That's the bottom line. That's not the overall goal, but it's just, as I've seen so many people do well in the markets, there's no reason you guys shouldn't be doing well in the markets. Bottom line, I've seen a lot of people do well in the markets, okay? It's not genie in the bottle. It's not it's not, there's not a magic trick to it. It's just probabilities. It's pre-positioning without a doubt. And it's recognizing when I throw up a condition green, it's not me, guys, it's the pattern. It is the pattern which is going to give you a 72% chance of doing this, breaking out to the upside. And what's going to happen after that? Well, there's a split in the authorities. It is, as we trade these frequently, you see quite a few busts to the downside. You just do. You see quite a few busts to the downside. This was very aggressive right now to the downside in terms of that confirmation if you did a breakout trade. To resolve, this is the bottom line this morning, to resolve the issue of a split in the authorities, what do we want to do? We want to pre-position. You need to be comfortable when it could go either way. When price could rail to the upside or the downside, you have got to be pre-positioned. Without a doubt, guys, you've got to be pre-positioned. And I've told VIP in the past, let's take a look at the entirety of the markets now, how we're doing, up 1.12%. Back to the point of entry for the breakout traders. They just got washed out, trading that breakout bull flag. And looking at Dow, looking at NASDAQ, just looking at some different indices right now. NASDAQ up, NASDAQ up 1%, and they had cooled off. Wow, now we're seeing a nice move. This is intolerable if you're at a 50-50 spot and you just got in. Let's say you did 100x. You guys know this. You got in at 100x on the breakout of a bull flag, just like a good trader is taught to do, right? And guys, and you got pushed down. You lost your entire, guys, margin on this specific trade, which is why I tell you all the time, guys, I've just seen it be very effective and you know this, but pre-position. If you guys are carrying trades, you guys know this, if you're carrying trades from below and you're up 1,000%, 1,500%, make sure that you are splash trading. Guys, that rapid fire, bam, 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 that 100 rounds I want you guys to do that so that you are working at positioning yourself in a trade rather than, let's say, going into a riskier kind of split decision with the authorities. So pre-position down here. Who caught it? I know J-Mac did. Excellent, excellent. You guys want to go through what he did to catch this move at the very bottom? I think we can. Let's do that while Bitcoin, and comfortably, this is the deal, comfortably had some nice move to the upside as you would look at this shared feature here and go Bitcoin go. Have a bit of a, let's see, an inverse head and shoulders here as well that we can talk about. I just wanted to bring you the split in authorities this morning and talk about what is a condition green as well. Let's dig into the details, and the setup here is going to be a bit more streamlined. Allow us to focus a little bit more on you guys in the morning. We have a very weak right shoulder here, okay? Always use the head and shoulders tool, okay, if you could. Always use the head and shoulders tool. It's gonna show you where you have a defect or a deficit in terms of like a right shoulder here. Wouldn't really call that a head and shoulders because of that weak right shoulder. We want the semblance between that left shoulder and the right shoulder. We just don't have it here. Now, in terms of rocking the bell to the upside, that's pure Bulkowski. In terms of the caution for a breakdown, that's what? That's pure Elliott Wave International. You have I know you have settled enough with Elliott Wave International to where you're going to give them the credit where credit's due or not. At this point, I know that. But as we talk about who they are as a group, we have to give them some credit. They've caught some very big moves. Very, very big moves, guys. They've caught some big moves, okay? So we can't completely dismiss them. I don't want to completely dismiss them. And let's dig into, let me see what we've got here in terms of, there we go, that's fine. So that is that's the crux, guys. That's the crux. Pre-position, we're gonna go into exactly what we caught because I'm not sure that all of you have. We've reviewed it in the back. I put up tons of charts, but let's really review exactly this breakdown here. Let's go into the 5 minute as Bitcoin is getting some price action. But you see the breakout trade here? That was the breakout move right here, just tempting up and through, just getting the traders involved, retail, then wham, boom. That's not comfortable. If you're involved in this zone along the top, I always encourage VIP every single time that you're involved in a breakout trade, what is the circumstance that, guys, every single breakout trade that you're involved in, someone else has already beaten you to the punch. Someone else has already established a more favorable market position if you're breakout trading. Someone else has already entered here like J-Mac. J-Mac, my man, congratulations on this specific entry here. Now, what was this entry? This entry was a perfect carry down. Let's take a look at this. The entry was a perfect carry down. You guys have the chart in the back, but bam, I just normally copy then paste to show you the amplitude, okay? That's all I'm doing is showing you the amplitude move to the downside. We can go to the candle wicks if need be and match this up. But JMac was a near perfect entry here, bam, at that 100%. You can use your Fibonacci, guys, your trend-based fib extensions. Click 1, click 2, and over to the point of breakout, bam, bam, okay? That click 1 and 2 needs to be the amplitude. Click 1, click 2, amplitude, then to the point of breakout to get you to that 100%. So underneath, remember this, underneath, and this would be called, well guys, a blackjack move. We'd call this a blackjack move. Let's go through why. We would call it a blackjack move. We see it frequently enough. Let me wipe everything off the screen here. Let me just do this, everything off the screen. Take a look at this specific, and shout out to the VIP. Hope you guys are doing well. This is London with Bitcoin Spike, former hedge fund owner, private, non-SEC, not financial advice. Now, in terms of that double bottom single pass through, that double bottom, anytime that we see either a roof formation, the roof, okay, or that specific descending triangulation, and you guys see this enough in the back, yeah, right? Whenever I see a descending triangulation, descending triangle, flat bottom support, descending line of resistance, or I see a roof. Roof is a very established pattern, okay? It just has that left side here on the left side as well. So anytime that I see the key componentry being a flat bottom support, right? A double bottom, boom, boom, with a single pass through, that 2-1, the double bottom single pass through, boom. I'm looking for a blackjack move, which would be a double bottom, single pass through, 2, 1, boom, boom, with a launch thereafter. We see this pattern frequently enough, and I'll tell you what this is rooted in as you would look at it. What this is rooted in, if I would say a blackjack pattern, you say, well, that's not traditional. That's not real TA. Okay, I want you to study, if you'll study, please, the specific performance of a descending triangulation to the downside. How many descending triangles? How many descending triangles? Again, guys, do you want to be involved in a breakout trade? Even a secondary breakout trade? Do you want to? Guys, who's comfortable right now? Who's comfortable? J-Mac. You guys got it. VIP who pre-positioned. Do you want to be involved in a breakout trade? You guys got to be crazy. You got to be, I mean, who's comfortable? VIP, J-Mac, boom, entry at the bottom. That's ferocious, guys. That's difficult. What did we just get to the downside? Bitcoin is famous for this. Another 1% drop. Anybody else, again, first of all, it was here with a 1% drop, bam. Second of all, it was here, bam. I'm telling you guys, big time issues with breakout trading. Just be aware, be alert. So now, in terms of the blackjack move, let's go through why we focus on them. Pay attention, VIP. Shout out, let me get a sip of coffee real quickly. Let's see how you guys are doing in the back. All right. Now, the formulation, what makes it a proper consideration in terms of technicals? The blackjack move, the double bottom single pass through. And focus on the blackjack move. Let's focus on this. Great short. What do we have here? We can go through the additional pattern framework. You guys, this is just, see, and now J-Mac is having let's say now J-Mac has a decision. With an ideal entry below, now J-Mac has a decision, all right? In terms of take profits, right? Adjust position, etc. with a pre-position. It's the only way to trade, guys. It is the only way to trade, to pre-position and not get mustered by, look at this, guys, not get mustered up by these breakout trades. And I literally wanted to stream this morning to show caution on breakout trades. Literally, I wanted to stream this morning to show some caution on breakout trades with this specific pattern. This one got nasty. Let's see, we have a, let me see what alert we have going on. Let's see what we hit. 2 seconds. Okay, we just hit the pro lower line on the 4 hourly. Noted, okay, on the 4 hourly on our Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is trading, that's our VIP exclusive. Really excited to see this framework here because it's the exact reason that I decided to stream. So it's worked out well. Now, in terms of the specifics, you guys know never overexposed at any higher price without a doubt. Never, and guys, any higher price or in any one single position. Just, it's not the VIP way to be for reasons such as this. Now, we're talking about pre-positioning for a breakout. We're talking about the bell pattern formation, all right, the volatility here, the increasing volatility, expanding level of support, expanding level of resistance, and this likelihood of a bust over this specific area aside from this specific. And this has been absolutely brutal in terms of a bull flag construction. With a move to the upside, downward sloping channel, it's been brutal. It's taken money once, it's taken money twice, okay? We can understand this bust in the context of this specific pattern. You guys know that. We can understand it much better, that it's literally throwing around the traders to this degree. Venus loves trading throwbacks on this. You'll rarely catch Venus without a good eye towards the number of busts that have occurred. And Venus, number one contributor. Venus, excited to be building with you in 2023. Can't wait to see what all we're capable of in 2023, huh? Challenge ourselves a bit, see what we're capable of. And there's no one else I'd rather be doing it with. Guys, she is awesome. Venus is awesome, and I mean that, Venus. To see what we're capable of in 2023. You guys make that maybe your goal as well. See what you're capable of in 2023. I'm excited, genuinely. So in terms of this feature here, let's discuss, before I forget, the specific descending triangulation and what puts this move and framework, this double bottom single pass through, in the hall or wall of traditional TA. What would include it in terms of traditional TA that we could recognize it? and rely on it, okay? In terms of a pickup below a descending triangulation, why does that comport with technical analysis or the entirety of the framework in terms of the empirical data presented to us over the decades in the market? What I'll say is this: the percentage of descending triangles, pay attention, the percentage of descending triangles that complete beyond, pay attention, that complete beyond the 100%, that complete beyond a 100% amplitude, meaning the percentage of descending triangles that complete further below just, let's say, a measurement of a full amplitude. Some will only complete to 50%. Some will complete to the 100%, meaning 50% of the amplitude. Some will complete the full 100%. Few, pay attention, few, very few, will outcomplete that 100% target, that 100% amplitude. Very few of a descending triangulations will want to, or guys will express themselves in terms of an over completion. Let's say they're going to, and this is the framework of the last 150,000 patterns, okay, assessed by Bulkowski. Very few descending triangulations, as you would look at this, are going to complete to a multiple. Let's say, well, wow, we have the amplitude move here, this specific amplitude, we're going to carry this down. But wow, if it were a popularized pattern where we had an expectation of, and let me take these away, but where we had an expectation of, well, this is going to potentially produce not just one amplitude to the downside, but 2 or 3 amplitudes to the downside. The descending triangulation is not such a pattern. Okay, it's not such a pattern. When you look at the performance details on a descending triangulation, what are you looking at? What are you looking at, guys? You're looking at a rarity of a descending triangulation that's going to literally outproduce or outmaneuver to the downside. Let's say that one single stack of an amplitude to the downside, that's in line with expectations. Very few of them, very few are going to produce. This is such critical information, guys. Very few are going to produce and say, well, it's going to achieve a triple, essentially, or it's going to double the amplitude to the downside, or it's going to triple the amplitude to the downside, right? It's not going to just move. Pay attention, guys. It's not just going to move. This is critical. Not going to just move, let's say, a descending triangulation, the full amplitude to the downside once. No, this is the type of pattern that's going to, let's say, like a bell pattern formation that we focus on, these expanding wedges. No, if the descending triangulation were such a pattern that we could expect the amplitude to repeat not just to one level, but to 2 or 3, then, guys, we would not be interested in entering into this level. However, it is the type of pattern. Pay attention. It is the type of pattern where we have an expectation that very few are going to get into this zone. Very few are going to get into this completion to 200%, 300% of that amplitude. You guys see that? That's critical information. Why? Because it turns this into a hot spot. I'm going to tell you, because if it's very rare to see a descending triangulation complete to a 200 or a 300% level, meaning the amplitude, this would be 100% of the amplitude, bam. 200% of the amplitude, bam. 300%, right? This would be a 100% move. A 200% move would be double the amplitude. A 300% move would be 1, 2, 3. Okay. Very rare to see a 200%. Very rare to see a 300% completion, which means I'm interested right here. Boom. Maxing probabilities. Okay, Bulkowski, take a look at the performance details on your descending triangulations. That turns this into a very interesting zone. You guys get that? That's critical information, guys. I'd log that. I'd make a note of it. If you have a hard time remembering details, that is the blackjack kind of protocol in terms of how we digest that information. It just is, right? Very important information in terms of that. Let's see what we got. Hey, man, boom. I'm going to say boom to Scotland. My man, what's going on? And just try and process that information that I just gave you guys on, because I say this in the back all the time. We may not, what would I say? We may not go through all the details in a way that you actually receive it because it's just typed out information, right? So I wanted to stream today because of the following. we had a clear bull flag, right? I wanted to go through the details. I'm happy for this to launch to the upside. You guys know this. I'm happy if it were to occur, but what's the benefit here? This blackjack move, that full amplitude move to the bottom of that descending triangulation, that's the highest probability move you see on the screen in terms of the interior componentry of this bell. When I say we're condition green, what is the probability? 72% based upon this pattern formation that we're going to break out to the upside. 72%. That's a huge probability. The same way I'm discussing the descending triangulation, right? And optimally that we're going to be in that first round. Let's say that first level here. Okay, that's important. That's going to dictate price, the expectation you have of price. Can you see the price? Next descending triangulation you have, can you stack, just mentally stack the descending triangles? Bam, 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 bam. Stack 3 of them, 4 of them in a row. Show yourself when you see a descending triangulation, go ahead and show yourself and say, well, there's a percentage or not. And guys, you're always going to find variable components. You're going to find reinforcing structures, which will, I say, lead you to focus on micro versus macro componentry. You're going to find other components, higher probabilities, let's say of an 80% chance. And we'll go into this, but an 80% chance of a completion to a 50% zone. Let's go into this. We can go macro, micro. I don't want to diverge too much from the overall discussion, but if we were to look at macro components versus a micro component, the more macro you go, I'm going to recommend that you look at completion rates to a 50%, okay? Completion to 50%, okay? Instead of, I don't want to, it doesn't seem that much more complicated, but right now I just want to deal with multiples, okay? We'll deal with, and I'll go more macro on this specific chart and framework, we'll deal with 50%, okay? It just gets a little more complicated. If I'm stacking, just understand, if I'm just, for the purposes of right now, if I'm stacking things just like this, it's a little bit better than me going into 50% completions and 1/4% completions. Let's just deal with multiples this morning. A 1 time the amplitude of what we're seeing on the screen, a 2 time amplitude of what we're seeing on the screen, or a 3 time, right? That would be a 1, 2, or a 3 time. Learn to stack like this. We'll get into the 50, we'll get into the 25s of any other additional accompanying features that may be involved, okay? For right now, next time you see a descending triangulation, stack, okay? And do it macro, do it micro. Within the next day or so, we'll cover completions to the 50%, to the 25%, and what that actually means, okay? It should be intuitive if you think through it, but I can't, I don't want to presuppose that that's just, that's going to be on everyone's agenda to understand 50% completion of amplitudes on pattern formations. I don't want to make that, we'll walk before we run into that, okay? We just will. It's an additional level of complication, but it's nothing that you shouldn't be able to really grasp. So we will dig into that. We'll do that next stream. How about that? And we'll probably use the same chart. Is that cool? Hey, we'll do it on the next stream. We'll probably do it on the same chart. So right now, when you see a descending triangulation, copy and paste if you need to. Just Control C, Control V, and bam, stack those triangles down the way. Okay, just stack them down the way. We'll deal with the other. We'll deal with the other issues. 50% completion. Okay, 25% completion, 50% completion. You're looking at like 80% probability. Yeah, something you want to be a part of. We'll get into all those issues. Now, the reason to return. I just wanted to add that disclaimer.